Hey everyone, welcome back to Bix Book Summary. I'm Bix, and today we're diving into a book that has transformed the way millions of people approach life. 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos by Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. If you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or just unsure about your next step, this book might just be the practical guide you need. Dr. Peterson, a renowned clinical psychologist and professor, doesn't just throw around generic self-help advice. Instead, he masterfully weaves together psychology, philosophy, mythology, and personal experiences to craft 12 profound rules that help us navigate the chaos of life with meaning, responsibility, and discipline. In this video, I'll take you through each of these 12 rules, breaking them down in a way that's engaging, relatable, and practical. You'll hear compelling stories, scientific insights, and real-life applications to help you integrate these rules into your daily life. So, if you're ready to take charge, embrace responsibility, and create a life filled with purpose, let's dive in. Rule 1. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. Imagine walking into a room full of people. Do you slouch, keeping your head down, hoping to go unnoticed? Or do you walk in with your shoulders back, making eye contact, exuding quiet confidence? According to Dr. Jordan Peterson, your posture is more powerful than you realize. It's not just about how you look, but how you feel and how the world responds to you. To illustrate this, Peterson introduces an unexpected yet fascinating example: lobsters. Yes, lobsters. These creatures, much like humans, exist in social hierarchies. A dominant lobster stands tall, moves with confidence, and claims its space, while a defeated lobster shrinks, avoiding confrontation. But here's what's truly astonishing. When a lobster loses a battle, its brain chemistry actually changes, making it more likely to lose again in the future. It becomes timid, uncertain, and more prone to failure. Humans aren't much different. When we feel defeated, whether it's due to rejection, failure, or self-doubt, our body language changes. We slouch, we avoid eye contact, and the world responds accordingly. People take us less seriously, opportunities seem to slip away, and our confidence erodes further. But here's the good news. Just like the victorious lobster, we can rewire our brains. Standing up straight with your shoulders back is more than just a posture adjustment. It's a powerful signal to yourself and to others that you are strong, competent, and deserving of respect. When you hold yourself with confidence, you begin to act more confidently. You speak more assertively. You handle challenges with greater resilience, and the world in turn responds to you with more respect and opportunities. So the next time you walk into a room, stand tall, claim your space, and own your presence. Your posture isn't just about how others see you, it's about how you see yourself. Rule 2. Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. Imagine this. You have a beloved pet, a dog that you deeply care for. One day, it falls sick. Without hesitation, you take it to the vet, buy the prescribed medication, ensure it gets the best food, and watch over it with genuine concern. You would never neglect it or ignore its suffering. But now, think about how you treat yourself. Do you eat well? Do you get enough rest? Do you take care of your mental and emotional well-being? More often than not, we treat others with far more kindness and responsibility than we treat ourselves. Dr. Jordan Peterson points out a troubling reality. Many of us struggle with self-worth. Deep down, we don't always feel like we deserve the same care, love, and discipline that we freely give to others. This leads to self-neglect, bad habits, and self-sabotage. We skip meals, procrastinate on important goals, allow toxic influences into our lives, and fail to set boundaries, all because we don't see ourselves as worthy of better treatment. But here's the truth. You are worthy. Peterson challenges us to start treating ourselves with the same care and responsibility we would give to someone we love. This means setting boundaries, saying no to things that drain you and yes to things that nourish you. Prioritizing self-improvement, taking small steps each day to grow and develop. Caring for your health, both physically and mentally. Acknowledging your worth, believing that you deserve the same compassion you give to others. So the next time you're about to neglect yourself, pause and ask, Would I treat a loved one this way? If the answer is no, then it's time to change how you care for yourself. Because if you don't, who will? Rule 3. Make friends with people who want the best for you. Have you ever noticed how the people around you shape your thoughts, decisions, and even your self-esteem? Dr. Jordan Peterson highlights a fundamental truth. Your friendships can either lift you up or drag you down. That's why choosing the right people to surround yourself with is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. Peterson shares a personal story of growing up in a small town where some of his childhood friends fell into cycles of addiction, self-destruction, and stagnation. While he cared about them, he eventually realized that staying around people who refuse to improve themselves will only hold you back. No matter how much you want to help, if someone isn't willing to change, they will only pull you into their own misery. Good friends push you forward. They celebrate your wins, challenge you to become better, and support you when you need it. They want to see you succeed, not because it benefits them, but because they genuinely care about your growth. In contrast, toxic friendships are built on jealousy, negativity, and comfort in mediocrity. If someone in your life constantly discourages your dreams, downplays your achievements, or pulls you into negativity, it might be time to ask yourself, is this relationship helping me become the person I want to be? It's not about being selfish. It's about being intentional. Surround yourself with people who inspire, encourage, and challenge you to reach your potential. The right friends will help you grow. The wrong ones will keep you stuck. So take a moment to reflect. Are the people around you bringing out the best in you? If not, it might be time to find a new circle, one that pushes you toward the life you truly want. Rule 4. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. In a world fueled by social media, it's easier than ever to fall into the trap of comparison. You open Instagram or LinkedIn and see people landing dream jobs, traveling to exotic destinations, getting in peak physical shape, or celebrating achievements that seem miles ahead of where you are. Suddenly, your own life feels stagnant, like you're falling behind while everyone else is racing ahead. I've been there. I remember scrolling through my feed, seeing friends succeed, and questioning whether I was doing enough. Their accomplishments made my own progress feel insignificant, even when I was making real strides in my own journey. But here's what I've learned, and what Dr. Peterson so powerfully reminds us in 12 Rules for Life. Life is not a race against others. It's a personal journey, and the only valid comparison is against who you were yesterday. Peterson tells us about a concept that can radically shift our perspective. Instead of measuring yourself against the world's standards or someone else's highlight reel, ask yourself, am I even slightly better than I was yesterday? Did I learn something new? Did I take a small step toward my goals? It's easy to compare yourself to someone else's peak while you're still climbing your own mountain. But what you don't see is their struggles, their failures, or the sacrifices they made to get there. Every person you admire has faced their own battles. They started where you are, or even further behind. They had their own doubts, their own fears, and their own moments of feeling lost. Your real competition is with the person you were yesterday. If today you're even a tiny bit better, physically, mentally, emotionally, or in your skills, then you're making progress. And progress, no matter how small, compounds over time. The most successful people aren't those who make overnight transformations. They're the ones who commit to small, consistent improvements over months and years. Peterson's philosophy isn't about complacency, it's about sustainable growth. He encourages us to track our own journey, to celebrate small wins, and to set goals that are realistic for us. He acknowledges that life isn't fair. Some people start with more advantages, while others have to struggle harder. But fixating on others' advantages won't change your reality. The only way forward is to take responsibility for your own improvement. I started applying this mindset, and everything changed. Instead of feeling discouraged by others' success, I used it as inspiration. I set small, daily challenges for myself, whether it was learning something new, improving my skills, or simply managing my time better. Over time, those small efforts accumulated into real transformation. And the best part? I didn't need to be better than anyone else. I just needed to be better than the version of myself from yesterday. So if you ever feel like you're not where you should be, take a step back. Measure your progress against your own past, not someone else's present. Keep track of the small victories. Recognize how far you've already come. The goal isn't perfection, it's growth. And as long as you're moving forward, no matter how slowly, you're on the right path. Rule 5. Do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. Parenting is one of the hardest jobs in the world. Every parent wants their child to be happy, confident, and successful. But in the effort to be kind, many parents make a critical mistake. They avoid discipline. They fear being too strict, too harsh, or too controlling, so they let things slide. But according to Dr. Jordan Peterson, children need structure, discipline, and guidance to grow into responsible adults. Imagine a child throwing a tantrum in a store while the parent passively ignores them, hoping they'll calm down on their own. What does the child learn? That bad behavior gets attention and that boundaries are flexible. Over time, this leads to entitled, undisciplined behavior, not just in childhood, but in adulthood as well. Small bad habits, if unchecked, turn into lifelong problems. Peterson makes an important distinction. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about teaching. A well-disciplined child isn't afraid of their parents, they respect them. Clear boundaries and consistent expectations give children the structure they need to develop self-control, patience, and responsibility. When they understand consequences early in life, they grow into confident, well-adjusted adults who know how to navigate the real world. So what's the takeaway? If you're a parent, set fair but firm boundaries. Teach your child that actions have consequences. Encourage good behavior and correct bad behavior before it becomes a habit. Because in the end, if you don't discipline your child, the world will, and the world won't be as kind about it. Rule 6. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. It's easy to point fingers at society, the government, or external circumstances when things aren't going well. The system is broken. The world is unfair. If only things were different. Sound familiar? We all do it. But Dr. Jordan Peterson presents a harsh yet profound truth. Before you criticize the world, ask yourself, have you put your own life in order? Many people are quick to demand large-scale change while ignoring the chaos in their own personal lives. They protest, complain, and blame external forces, yet they can't manage their own health. Their relationships are in disarray, their work ethic is lacking, or their day-to-day life is consumed by disorder. Peterson argues that before you try to fix the world, start with yourself. This idea might sound simple, but it's powerful. If you can't take responsibility for your own life, how can you possibly take responsibility for fixing the world? Instead of getting lost in ideological battles or dwelling on problems too big to control, focus on what's within your reach. Start small. Clean your room. An organized space leads to an organized mind. Take care of your health. Eat better, exercise, and get enough sleep. Handle your finances. Stop unnecessary spending and plan for the future. Mend broken relationships. Apologize when needed. Set boundaries when necessary. Be honest. Stop making excuses. Confront the truth even when it's uncomfortable. Peterson isn't saying you shouldn't care about changing the world. He's saying that real, meaningful change begins within. By fixing yourself first, you develop the discipline, resilience, and integrity needed to create a genuine impact. The world is full of people shouting about what's wrong, but very few are truly leading by example. I personally struggled with this. There were times I felt frustrated about things beyond my control, politics, economy, society. But when I applied this rule, I realized that many of my own habits were holding me back more than anything external. Instead of complaining, I focused on improving my routines, my mindset, and my discipline. And as I did, my sense of control over my life increased, and the world seemed a little less chaotic. So, before you criticize, before you fight to fix the world, look inward. If your own house is in disorder, start there. Not only will it make your own life better, but it will give you the credibility and strength to make a real difference in the world. Rule 7. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. Everyday life presents us with two choices: the path of short-term pleasure or the path of long-term meaning. It's tempting to choose expedience, procrastinating on responsibilities, chasing distractions, or making impulsive choices for temporary comfort. But Dr. Jordan Peterson argues that true fulfillment doesn't come from doing what's easy. It comes from choosing meaning over convenience, sacrificing the present for a better future. To explain this, Peterson draws from religious and philosophical traditions, highlighting figures like Christ, Buddha, and Socrates. Each of them willingly embraced suffering, discipline, and responsibility to achieve something greater than themselves. They didn't chase quick pleasures or take the easy way out. Instead, they endured hardship to find real purpose. Think about it in your own life. Are you avoiding the difficult tasks that would lead to true fulfillment? Are you putting off that important career move because it's overwhelming? Are you neglecting your health, relationships, or ambitions because they require effort? The greatest things in life, deep relationships, professional success, mastery of a skill, all demand sacrifice, effort, and perseverance. Choosing meaning over expedience is what separates those who create a life of purpose from those who simply drift through it. If you find yourself constantly seeking short-term rewards but feeling unfulfilled, it may be time to ask, am I living for convenience, or am I striving for something meaningful? The hard truth is that meaning requires work. But here's the secret. When you take responsibility for something greater than yourself, you stop feeling lost. You gain a sense of direction, purpose, and strength. The sacrifice is worth it because meaning gives life its deepest rewards. So the next time you're tempted by what's easy, stop and ask yourself, is this leading me toward the life I truly want? If not, take the harder path, the one that leads to meaning. Rule 8. Tell the truth, or at least, don't lie. How often do we tell little lies? We soften the truth to avoid conflict, exaggerate our accomplishments to protect our ego, or bend reality to manipulate a situation in our favor. It seems harmless, maybe even necessary at times. But Dr. Jordan Peterson warns us, every lie, no matter how small, corrupts our perception of reality and distances us from who we truly are. Peterson explores the devastating effects of deception, not just on a personal level, but on entire societies. He discusses how political regimes built on lies led to oppression, destruction, and suffering. But beyond these grand historical examples, he focuses on how lying poisons our daily lives. When we lie about how we feel, what we want, or who we are, we slowly lose touch with our authentic selves. Think about the times you've lied to avoid an uncomfortable truth. Maybe you told a friend you were fine when you weren't. Maybe you stayed in a job or relationship you hated because you were afraid to face reality. Maybe you told yourself you were happy while ignoring the nagging voice inside that said otherwise. Each time we deceive ourselves or others, we create a fragile version of reality, one that will eventually crumble. So what's the alternative? Live in truth, even when it's uncomfortable. This doesn't mean you should be brutally blunt or hurtful, but it does mean speaking honestly, expressing your true thoughts and emotions, and being transparent with yourself and others. The truth can be painful in the short term, but in the long run, it builds trust, integrity, and a deep sense of inner peace. Peterson suggests a simple yet powerful question to guide us. The next time you're tempted to lie, pause and ask yourself, is this making me stronger or weaker? The truth may be difficult, but it's also liberating. When you commit to honesty, you free yourself from the exhausting burden of maintaining a false reality. You stand firmer in the world, grounded in something real, and that is a foundation no lie can ever provide. Rule 9. Assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't. We live in a world where everyone wants to be heard. But how many people truly listen? In conversations, we often focus on making our point, proving ourselves right, or simply waiting for our turn to speak. But Dr. Jordan Peterson reminds us that true wisdom doesn't come from talking, it comes from listening. Peterson argues that every person we meet knows something we don't. They have lived experiences, insights, and perspectives that could challenge our beliefs or add value to our understanding, if we take the time to actually hear them. As a clinical psychologist, Peterson discovered that his job wasn't just to give advice, it was to listen deeply. He found that when people talk about their problems, they often reveal solutions they didn't even know they had. By providing them with space to express themselves, he helped them uncover insights that were buried beneath their own uncertainty. But this rule isn't just about therapy, it applies to all conversations. When we listen with curiosity instead of arrogance, we open the door to learning something new. Maybe it's a lesson from someone older, a fresh perspective from someone younger, or a completely different worldview from someone whose experiences differ from ours. The moment we assume we already know everything, we stop growing. So here's a challenge. The next time you're in a conversation, shift your focus. Instead of trying to be right, try to understand. Ask questions. Be present. Pay attention. You might be surprised at what you learn, not just about others, but about yourself. Rule 10. Be precise in your speech. Words have power. They shape how we think, how we act, and how we interact with the world. Yet so often we speak in vague terms, dodging difficult conversations, avoiding confrontation, or failing to articulate what we really want. Dr. Jordan Peterson argues that vagueness leads to chaos, while clarity leads to order. Think about how many problems arise from poor communication. In relationships, someone might say, "I'm fine," when they're clearly not. In the workplace, a lack of clear expectations leads to frustration and mistakes. In our own lives, failing to define our goals leaves us directionless. When we don't precisely express what we mean, misunderstandings, resentment, and confusion take over. Peterson emphasizes that clarity in speech isn't just about being articulate, it's about bringing structure to your life. If you're unhappy, don't just say, "I don't feel good." Dig deeper. What exactly is wrong? Is it your job, your health, your relationships? If you want a better future, don't just say, "I want to be successful." Define what success looks like and outline the steps to get there. Precision forces us to confront reality. It makes our problems clearer and, more importantly, solvable. The more specific you are, the more control you gain over your life. So the next time you feel lost, frustrated, or unsure, try to put it into words. Say what you mean what you say. Clarity in speech creates clarity in life. Rule 11. Do not bother children when they are skateboarding. This rule isn't really about skateboarding. It's about risk, resilience, and the necessity of struggle. Dr. Peterson describes watching children skateboard, pushing their limits, attempting difficult tricks, falling, scraping their knees, and then getting back up to try again. This kind of behavior is essential. It's how we learn confidence, self-reliance, and mental toughness. But modern society has become increasingly overprotective, shielding people, especially young men, from hardship and risk. And according to Peterson, that's a huge problem. Life requires risk. Growth comes from confronting danger and overcoming challenges. If we try to eliminate all struggle, we also eliminate the very things that make people strong. Without risk, there is no resilience. Peterson warns that when young people, particularly boys, are overly protected, they grow into weak, anxious, and resentful adults who fear failure instead of facing it. Instead of preparing them for the real world, excessive safety measures and restrictions make them more fragile. When every risk is removed, when every challenge is softened, people don't learn how to handle failure. They learn to fear it. This doesn't just apply to parenting. It applies to all areas of life. If you avoid challenges because they're uncomfortable, you never develop the resilience to deal with adversity. Whether it's stepping out of your comfort zone in your career, relationships, or personal goals, avoiding risk keeps you small. So instead of suppressing risk-taking, Peterson encourages calculated risks. Instead of eliminating difficulty, we should embrace it. Instead of fearing discomfort, we should seek to overcome it. The message is clear. Life isn't about avoiding hardship, it's about becoming stronger because of it. So take on challenges, push yourself, and let failure teach you, not define you. Rule 12. Pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. Life is full of suffering, and sometimes no amount of effort, planning, or wisdom can completely shield us from pain. This final rule from Dr. Peterson serves as a gentle but powerful reminder. Even in the darkest times, there are small moments of peace and beauty if we take the time to notice them. Peterson shares a deeply personal story about his daughter who suffered from severe arthritis that caused her immense chronic pain. As a father, watching his child go through relentless suffering was unbearable. There were moments when it felt like no amount of knowledge or effort could make things better. But during those years of hardship, he learned something invaluable. When life is overwhelming, small moments of beauty can offer brief but meaningful relief. Maybe it's a kind smile from a stranger. Maybe it's the warmth of the sun on your face after a long, cold day. Or maybe it's the simple, calming act of petting a cat on the street. Something that asks for nothing in return but gives a quiet, fleeting sense of comfort. This rule isn't just about cats. It's about practicing gratitude even when life is cruel. It's about recognizing that no matter how chaotic things become, there is always something beautiful. Something small but real, if you stop and allow yourself to notice it. So the next time you're overwhelmed, pause, look around, find something simple to appreciate. It won't solve all your problems, but it might remind you that life, even in suffering, still holds moments worth holding on to. And sometimes, that small moment of peace is enough to keep going. 12 Rules for Life isn't just a book. It's a blueprint for building a stronger, more disciplined, and meaningful life. Dr. Jordan Peterson doesn't sugarcoat the truth. Life is hard. There will be suffering, setbacks, and injustice. But through responsibility, honesty, discipline, and courage, we can navigate chaos and create order. If there's one lesson that stands out above all else, it's this. You are responsible for your own life. No one else will do it for you. And that's not a burden, it's an opportunity. Stand tall and face the world with confidence. Take care of yourself as if you were someone you loved. Choose friends who inspire and uplift you. Focus on progress, not comparison. Be better than you were yesterday. Speak the truth, listen deeply, and embrace risk. And when life gets overwhelming, pause and find the small moments of beauty. If you enjoyed this summary, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Bix Book Summary. Want to support the channel and grab a copy of 12 Rules for Life? Check out the link in the description. I truly appreciate it. Tell me in the comments, which rule resonated with you the most? Until next time, stand strong, take responsibility, and keep growing. See you in the next one.